Welcome, butt wipes, to TP For Your Earholes. My name is Patrick Schmidt, and with me
is Charlene Schmidt.
Yeah. Welcome to the world's best Beavis and Butt-head podcast.
Whoa, there's a declaration.
Yeah, and today what we're going to be talking about, moments when Beavis and Butt-head were straight up geniuses.
Say what? I thought they were dumbasses.
They are. This is accidental genius because they cannot be geniuses on purpose.
Exactly. But they did occasionally have moments of brilliance. And so you compiled a list, I've compiled a list, and we're going to throw these back and forth at one another. And I think we ought to ask each other the question, are these accidental genius moments for real? We should evaluate.
Before we get into that, though, let's give you a couple of reminders. If you're not already following us on Facebook, Instagram, or Blue Sky at TP For Your Earholes, or on YouTube at TP For Your Earholes, you really should be, because that's where we let you know not only when new episodes drop, but anytime we find anything cool related to Beavis and Butt-head, that's where we're sharing it.
Yep. Special news, fan art that we like. We have a couple of listeners who make really cool fan art, and then randomnesses here and there that we just stumble upon.
Also, we have a website, tpforyourearholes.com, where you can catch up on all of our back archive of shows and show notes, links, all the things that we talk about that we're going to put into the episode. We put it on our website as well. So don't forget that that exists, and we'd love to hear from you on our contact form on the site as well.
That's right. And if you've not written us a review, we would really love it if you would do that, because that helps other people find this podcast. And we haven't gotten any new ones in a little while, and I don't want to beg, but I will if I have to.
Yeah, so just go to your favorite podcast platform, find us, leave us that 5-star review that you know you want to.
Please. Well, how about we just dive right on in and talk about some genius moments? I am dying to know what you've come up with, sir. So how about you throw one at me?
Well, I'm going to stick with the dive theme, and I want to talk about the episode Pool Toys.
Okay.
Where Beavis and Butt-head help, quote, quote, help Anderson build his backyard pool. I don't know if you remember that, but right at the beginning of that episode, Anderson says something to the effect of, "Don't show a man what to do, tell him what to do and let him surprise you with his ingenuity."
Yes.
And so Beavis and Butt-head take those bags of concrete and they're opened up, and they take Anderson's golf clubs and they just start chipping cement into the wet hole in the ground. And that actually is pretty ingenious. Until things go wrong, things were actually kind of going right. And I think that's pretty cool. And if you were to ask me to do better, I don't know that I could, because I'm not handy.
I mean, don't you just open the bag of cement and pour it into the water, and then the mixer takes care of the rest? I'm just saying.
True, right. But at the same time, if you had to do that organically without knowing what you were doing, the way they did it was pretty special.
It would probably go something like this. Yes.
Yeah, and honestly, I really think it was working up until they got a hold of the heavy machinery.
They might have made some actual progress that could have potentially become a pool. Now, granted, yes, I'm sure it would need some touching up, but they could have theoretically made cement that way. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I will call it accidental genius, although accidental is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
So I'm not going to say that's my best one, but that's one of my ones.
Okay.
How about you? What do you got to counter?
Well, okay, if you're not going to lead with your strongest, I'm not going to do that either.
Fair.
And how about we talk about an episode that we talked about when the boys did good, unintentionally or otherwise, and talk about Citizen Butt-head.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one where the boys make a citizen's arrest of a man who is robbing Burger World just by being stupid. And the police officer walks in and says, "Congrats, boys, you did it." Wait, what?
Yeah, they stumbled into that one, but they stumbled into it beautifully.
I mean, they did help make a citizen's arrest, so I'm going to call that accidental genius. How about you?
I think they got a little drunk with power afterward.
Oh, definitely.
Who wouldn't at that point? I think that's just totally human. And our boys are nothing if not human.
Very much. And especially we have to remember 15-year-old boys.
Yeah.
What 15-year-old boy wouldn't get drunk on a little bit of power and praise from law enforcement and be encouraged to do more of the same?
Right? I can't say that I had accomplished anything in my life to the level of helping to arrest a robber when I was 15. Like, Beavis and Butt-head are more successful than me.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Credit where it's due. Let's just speak honestly here.
Yeah, truth.
Yeah.
So there we go. There is one of my first moments that I thought of.
Okay. I'll stick with sort of that theme of doing good.
Okay.
And that is a very special episode where Beavis accidentally nurtures the baby bird back to health. I think it was accidental genius because they were actually trying to make sure that the bird didn't get back to health. And in doing so, they created life, created an opportunity for this bird to live.
It's true.
Accidentally geniuses. All those times they sat through those biology classes playing dice in the back row, something must have sunk in, and accidentally things worked out as beautifully as they possibly could have.
Again, I think the word accidental is doing some heavy lifting here. But yes, they were not necessarily trying to nurture this baby bird, and yet Beavis chews worms and feeds them to the bird. I mean, how accidental is that if you're not fully conscious of what you're doing? So I'm going to have to give you credit for that one, just barely though. And speaking of our doing good episode, I believe this episode also made that list.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So how about you? What do you got next that you want to counter my genius moment with?
Well, you know what? How about the episode True Crime, where Beavis gets money out of an ATM machine by correctly guessing the pin of a card that's in the machine because the pin is balls. Look, if I just tried to brute force, put in someone's pin and try to get tons of money out of the ATM machine, I would not succeed. So I think it's genius.
Yeah, true. It's evil genius, but it's genius.
It's not like they really got away with it for very long, but he still managed to do that thing.
Yeah, kudos to them for being able to do that.
Maybe, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's another one you got?
Let's take a step back and get into artistic genius.
Ooh, do tell.
Because we've been talking about them doing sort of smart things that have, decent outcomes. What about suffering for your art?
Oh, the starving artist type?
They were that in Animation Sucks.
I love this. I knew this would make the list.
They actually end up making some pretty cool cartoons. That artistic genius at work, and even though they ended up disappointed in it, because they drew hundreds of dead guys, just end up with 2 dead guys, their work surpassed their vision in a way that I think indicates some level of artistic genius.
Yeah, honestly, that finished piece turned out really good, and it got praise from Van Driesen, which is awesome. Probably the highest grade in any class assignment they've ever gotten.
Yeah.
And so, yes, this is definitely artistic genius. For sure. It is one of their most brilliant moments, period.
They done good. I agree with every single one of Van Driesen's critiques in that episode, where it's just like, yeah, it's primal and it's cool. Let's take a look at it again. Yeah. Very, very, very unexpected genius.
Very much, and so brilliantly done. And I love the fact that they made an episode about Beavis and Butt-head being animators. Made by animators.
There's some really good meta humor in that episode.
Yeah. So good.
I know there was an episode that you really liked as well for this episode that we're putting together where we talk about artistic genius. What episode was that?
It's Dude, a Reward.
Yes.
Speaking of artistic genius, This is the one where Beavis and Butt-head create a moving photography exhibit. By accident, of course, and they're taking photos up their noses, down by the crotch area. Nevertheless, some people have got to sit down and take it in because it is overwhelming with emotion.
Yes.
That has got to be artistic genius. Yes, I don't understand it, but nevertheless, I think it has to count.
Yeah. Well, and it reminds me of a Murphy Brown episode.
Oh, yeah?
Did you ever watch Murphy Brown?
You know what? I didn't watch it very much. If it were on today, I think I'd really appreciate it. And even if I watched reruns now, I think I would appreciate it even though it's not in its time anymore. But back then, no.
And I only watched it in syndication. It was one of those shows that came on after the news, right around the time that Jeopardy was airing. There was Murphy Brown, there was Home Improvement, there were, at least on our networks in our hometown, those were the ones in syndication. And I do not remember a single episode of Murphy Brown except for this one, which is where Murphy enters like her 2-year-old child's art in an art exhibit. And the kid's name was Avery. And it was submitted under A, like the initial A, Verre.
Okay.
And there were these critics just raving about it. Just like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And yeah, and then Murphy Brown was like, it was made by my 2-year-old. You all don't know what you're doing. And then it comes back to, who cares if a 2-year-old made it? The art is about the emotion that's going to elicit from the audience.
Right.
And you can put a price on that.
You really can with art, yes.
And it doesn't matter if it's a 2-year-old making it or if it's Beavis and Butt-head making it. There can still be value in the emotion that it creates. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And people appreciate art differently. People appreciate different types of art. And if you're really rich, you can pay a lot of money to appreciate that art and have it in your home.
But someday.
Yeah, in the meantime, I've got my Star Trek posters and we've commissioned some drawings from artists. We're not completely depraved.
And let's be honest, one of the best pieces of art we own are our Beavis and Butt-head socks.
This is true. We love them.
Mm-hmm. So I got a question for you.
What's that?
Have you ever been nice to an old person just so that they would put you in their will?
My grandpa. But I did like him genuinely.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's kind of genius. It's evil genius, but it's genius. And of course, Beavis and Butt-head did that in one of the most famous episodes of the first run, Washing the Dog.
Washing the dog.
Washing the dog. And Colette.
Oh, poor Colette. She's come up many times in this podcast already.
She has. And I do think that it's a bit of a genius thing to like come up with that. And they were watching a TV show and that inspired them to go out and do this. Now they screwed it up.
Of course.
But at the same time, having the idea is like half the battle. It might even be more than half the battle. And they had a pretty decent idea to hook themselves up with a little bit of cash. And they might have to wait for it, but not a bad idea. Let's be honest.
Potentially, right? Yeah, a little bit of kindness might go a long way. And we see this all the time now with YouTube videos. People who, they'll set it up where somebody who does a good deed for another person, they'll come up and they'll give them $500 or something like that just for being nice.
Right.
Like, I feel like that whole genre on the internet spawns from an idea like this.
Yes.
Now, a lot of it is performative and a lot of it is a setup, and yet it is feel good. I understand why people like it.
And it raises those questions of, are you doing it because it's the right thing to do, or are you doing it for content, for your channel? Yeah, it raises all kinds of weird issues. But again, not dumb.
Not dumb. Misguided? Possibly. And also, hey, be kind out there, everybody. Just be nice to one another.
Another good reminder for 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, just be a good human, please.
So do you have a moment where they're geniuses and good humans?
Ooh. Maybe not, but I can have them ascend to a higher level of being, in a sense. Yeah, how about the episode Meditation Sucks?
Yeah, one of the new ones.
Yeah, which unfortunately is not making much of an appearance in this list so far. I mean, I think this is the only episode from the reboots that we've done so far. Is that a trend? Maybe.
Sure.
But they completely clear their minds. And that's a feat some people spend their whole lives working toward through meditation. And they do it just simply by being them. Accidental genius.
They are absolutely fantastic geniuses at being able to clear their minds.
Because there's not much going on in there.
No. Well, it's the difference between cleaning an Escalade and cleaning a Matchbox car of an Escalade. They're the Matchbox car. There's not that much that they got to worry about.
No, and nevertheless, they did achieve it. So, gotta give it to them. Again.
Right? I feel like I've only hit that plane maybe once or twice in my life.
Wow.
And it was, I don't know, I think you reach that level, and the moment that you become aware that you've reached that level, it's over.
Right, because then you're thinking again.
Yep.
Which is why I think I can honestly say I don't know if I have ever reached that. My brain does not shut off that way. You're going to have to kill me to get there.
So can I tell you about one of my genius moments from my life?
Ooh, yeah, story time, go.
Okay, so 2011, we were, to put it gently, at a transitional point in our lives.
We were.
And we had moved back to our hometown. We were in this drafty one-bedroom basement apartment and waiting for the next phase in our life to really kick in. And I found myself with a little bit more time than I usually have. And I ended up at a temp job that was maybe 5 hours a day. And then I'd come home and I'd be, okay, what do I do now? And I started walking pretty much every afternoon. And I would walk kind of around our town. And eventually I discovered that I was close enough to the golf course that I could walk up to the golf course and back in a reasonable amount of time.
Uh-huh.
When I did that, I also realized I was walking right past where the out of bounds fence was.
Uh-huh.
And when I walked on the street, I could start finding golf balls in that area where a lot of people, once they hit it out there, they're not even going to go try to look for it.
Right.
I think over the course of those maybe 3 months where I was able to do that, I probably picked up in the neighborhood of 60 to 70 golf balls.
It was a lot. I remember this. Mm-hmm. We were wondering, what in the world should you do with all these balls?
And, eventually I wanted to sell them because I had been inspired by Beavis and Butt-head in Mr. Anderson's balls.
Yes, this is absolutely genius. Granted, they are not stealing stray balls. They are just taking them as they see them. But reselling balls that nobody's going after to the clientele that will use them again is a fantastic genius idea.
Yeah, it's a great way to build up a little spending money. That's fantastic. It's enough to get you a Fruity Whip and some nachos.
Totally. Maybe on a daily basis even.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And especially from people who couldn't even be bothered to go find them themselves.
Yeah, so you know what? Take their money. They deserve it.
Yeah, if you're rich enough to go golfing, you're rich enough to not have to chase after a golf ball.
Probably.
So, you know what? Power to the people.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Well, I think it's time for what I think is my strongest pick.
Ooh, okay.
This is in Beavis and Butt-head Do the Universe.
Okay.
Where Beavis and Butt-head were so impressively competent with the docking maneuver at NASA Space Camp that they earned themselves a space flight.
Yes.
As we've mentioned many times in other episode references, this goes horribly wrong later, but the fact that they were able to do or maneuver such complex machinery and to do what is supposed to be a very complex job, they became savants at it because it's all about sex to them. It's very Beavis and Butt-head Genius-esque.
You nailed it, to throw a pun in there. Yeah, they were so good at that, and their genius was recognized in the moment, too, for what it was, which is beautiful.
And then it's rare.
Yes.
Like, I actually felt good for them in the moment. Like, guys, you are actually really good at this. You deserve this.
Oh, yeah.
They also deserve everything that happens later. But that's the rest of the story. We're just focusing on this.
Again, and if you have not seen Do the Universe, go watch it. Do yourself a favor. It's one of those moments in that movie that really does help make it a classic.
Agreed.
Instant classic.
Yes. It's got all the elements that you want in a Beavis and Butt-head feature. And if you've not listened to our podcast about that, we did it not that long ago. So go a couple episodes back. Check that out.
All right. I'm going to throw out, I think, maybe my strongest then. You threw out your strongest. I'll throw out what I think might be my strongest.
All right.
Which is a reboot episode, a Mike Judge's Beavis and Butt-head episode, Two Stupid Men.
Yeah, we love this episode.
We do. It's so well done. And one of the things that we've talked about on this podcast before is in the reboot, Beavis plus Butt-head plus courtroom.
Gold.
And in Two Stupid Men, they are the jurors who make a jury stop and think about the evidence. And is there reasonable doubt? They're the ones who are the contrarians in an incredibly positive, meaningful way. And even though it comes from a place of not necessarily good, they end up doing good and deserve all the kudos in the world for that. And I speak as someone who has never served on a jury.
Yeah, I can't say I have either. I have been summoned, but I've never had to report. And every time that I've gotten the jury summons, I'm just thinking, oh man, if I get called in, it's like you've got to rearrange work stuff, life stuff. It can be an inconvenience, and yet it is a part of civic duty. And so a lot of people, if they do have to serve jury duty, they just want to do it, get it done, get out. And Beavis and Butt-head have nowhere to be. And even though their whole stance is basically out of a place of ignorance, yes, they did do good, and they did eventually help reveal the actual truth of this case.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome to see that play out the way it did.
Yeah. I think that's got to be one of the strongest episodes, certainly of the reboot, maybe in the entire Beavis and Butt-head series.
Fully 100% agree with that.
All right, I have one more to go through, and then my list is done.
All right.
How about the episode Nosebleed? You see it all the time now, where people stick up tampons and napkins and Kleenex up their nose to control a nosebleed. But I would say when I first watched this episode, I was not aware that that was a thing people did necessarily. Like, okay, and I'm a woman. I have used tampons, but not necessarily up my nose. Nevertheless, this is a pretty genius way to stop a really bad raging nosebleed, which Beavis had.
I agree. It was something that never would have crossed my adolescent mind to do, but it crossed Butt-head's, and that, again, made me feel bad as a human that Butt-head had outsmarted me.
I just find it interesting that Butt-head knows what a tampon is when he's really quite ignorant of a lot of things about female anatomy and how it all functions.
True.
But good on him, nevertheless.
I'm still trying to figure out in that episode how they got the tampons, because when he asked, he got punched. And then all of a sudden we switched to them having the tampons. I still don't know how that happened, but honestly, it's a plot hole that I'm more than willing to overlook. And let's be honest, I think we're all willing to overlook a whole bunch of plot holes in this series because it's funnier that way.
Yeah. I'm just surprised he had enough quarters to get tampons for both himself and Beavis.
This is a good point.
I always presumed he just went into the restroom anyway and got him himself.
Fair. So we do have one more moment left on our list, and I will take it. And it is the episode Jump.
Okay. This is one I overlook a lot.
Beavis and Butt-head save somebody's life.
This also made our unintentionally good episode list.
And I don't think you can do better than that. I don't think you can do better than talking someone literally off the ledge. And they did it, and they did it in a way that not only resulted in a good ending of this person not dying, but him being incredibly thankful, grateful, happy that he had this encounter with these two teenagers. And I don't think you can get any better than that, right?
I have no notes. 10 out of 10. No, you can't top that.
So good for them, even though that's not the outcome that Beavis and Butt-head wanted. Accidentally, they did something that was incredibly praiseworthy and incredibly important.
And smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would almost say, hey, you guys should be operating the crisis line, but no, don't.
Oh, no. We saw that episode. We don't want that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for everyone who has stuck with us and listened to our latest episode. And we are not done.
Oh, hell no.
We are hopefully just getting started, and we are going to be back next week with a new episode. And Shar, what are we going to talk about next week?
We're going to go back to talking about some of our favorite little moments. We're going to do part 2 in this series, and I'm always down for lists. You know this, and our listeners know this. And we're going to talk about things that make us laugh, things that make us smile. It's going to be a feel-good, happy time. And I hope you'll have a good time listening to us talk all about it. So hope you'll join us for that next week.